It began with a laugh, high, bright, and cutting through the Balenciaga silence like crystal shattering on marble. A single moment in a room built on restraint. Paris Fashion Week is a church of composure. Cameras hum softly, fabrics whisper down the runway, and even applause sounds like a secret. But that night, the sound wasn't silk or flashbulbs. It was Meghan Markle's laughter, loud, deliberate, and, as one insider described, a performance more than a reaction. For 3 seconds, the room froze. 100 eyes flicked toward the Duchess. And right beside her sat the one man who knew her better than most, Markus Anderson, Soho House power broker, longtime friend, rumored fixer, and gatekeeper to the elite. The laughter echoed. Then came his whisper, soft, unreadable, but apparently sharp enough to slice through years of carefully built loyalty. By dawn, that whisper would reportedly set the entire Paris fashion world ablaze. What began as harmless charm had turned into humiliation. Paris didn't laugh back. For Meghan, the Balenciaga show was supposed to be a redemption runway, a chance to reclaim the narrative after months of bad press. Her team had pitched it as a quiet re-entry into elite fashion. The outfit was flawless: muted gray couture, slick bun, diamond drop earrings. The seat placement was deliberate, front row flanked by Kim Kardashian and Naomi Campbell. Every move was calculated to whisper sophisticated comeback. But as witnesses later told Grazia and Page 6, something went wrong the moment she tried to join the conversation. Markus leaned in, murmured something only she could hear, and Meghan burst into that unmistakable, camera-ready giggle. Too loud, too bright, too Hollywood. It came during the finale walk, the sacred moment when the music softens, the lights dim, and the audience holds its breath. No one speaks. No one distracts. Yet there she was, head tilted back, laughing. Cameras caught it instantly. Influencers traded glances. A stylist reportedly muttered, "Read the room." By the time Meghan's team checked their phones, the clip was already viral. Caption: "When Montecito meets Paris." Hashtag: the laugh. And then came the real blow, from Markus himself. At Balenciaga's after-party in Le Marais, witnesses claim Markus joked to a table of stylists. She rehearses that laugh in the mirror. Another added, "He said the models lost their stride when she started. At first, it sounded like friendly teasing." But someone posted the exchange to X with the caption, "Even her best friend is done pretending." That post detonated across the internet. TikTok remixes looped her laughter over runway tracks. Memes compared it to a champagne cork popping. Late-night hosts made it a punchline. By sunrise, every headline said it differently, but meant the same thing. Meghan Markle embarrassed herself in Paris. And the most brutal irony? The man credited with introducing her to Prince Harry, her oldest ally, was now the accidental narrator of her downfall. Behind the glossy smiles and designer gowns, the emotional temperature plummeted. What the cameras didn't show was Meghan's reported meltdown at the Hotel Costas hours later. Sources close to both parties claimed she confronted Markus in private, voice trembling, mascara running, accusing him of betrayal. He allegedly dismissed it with a shrug. "It was just banter, darling. Paris loves irony." But to Meghan, there was nothing ironic about watching a friendship unravel in real time, because Markus Anderson wasn't just another social acquaintance. He'd been her shadow strategist since the Suits days, the man who arranged introductions, whispered her name in London's elite rooms, and shielded her from whispers she couldn't fight herself. For years, when tabloids called her calculating, Markus called her misunderstood. That night, even he stopped defending her. An insider told Dumois, she felt exposed, like Markus had confirmed every criticism she'd spent years denying. He was supposed to protect her image, not puncture it. Yet his whisper at Balenciaga had become the sound of betrayal. While Meghan's PR team scrambled, Markus reportedly appeared calm, seen at Café de Flore the next morning, espresso in hand, laughing with Vogue Paris editors. When asked about the comment, he allegedly smirked and said, "If you can't laugh at yourself in this business, you're finished." That single quote, polished, poised, devastating, became Fashion Week gospel. Editors reposted it. Stylists applauded it. And quietly, the Paris elite chose their side. Dior didn't invite her to their luncheon. Valentino didn't seat her at their dinner. The silence was louder than any public snub. A stylist whispered to Women's Daily, "Paris thrives on mystique." Meghan came with Hollywood energy and left with a meme. By the time she returned to Montecito, even her allies were distancing themselves. Markus unfollowed her on Instagram. Soho House staff stopped mentioning her name at events. It wasn't exile, it was evaporation. But beneath the surface, something more psychological was unfolding. Meghan's empire had always rested on control. Control of image, of narrative, of tone. A single laugh shattered that illusion. The irony is cruel. In a world that forgives scandal but not desperation, trying too hard becomes the cardinal sin. And Paris decided she tried too hard. Insiders later claimed Meghan stopped answering certain calls, avoiding mutual friends who still spoke to Markus. To them, it was over. To her, it was treason. In that moment, one truth became clear. Meghan Markle didn't just lose face at Balenciaga. She reportedly lost the one friend who once made her untouchable, and for Markus Anderson, a man long hidden in royal and Hollywood shadows, that whisper changed everything. He was no longer the silent enabler. He was the insider who finally told the truth. The world saw a laugh. Paris heard a betrayal. Meghan felt an ending. If you've ever watched someone's image crumble in real time, not because of scandal, but because of one small human mistake, hit subscribe. Because what happened next in Paris proves that even whispers can destroy empires. The internet never forgets. But Paris? Paris simply moves on and leaves you behind. Days after the viral clip, a quiet war began, not on camera, but behind closed doors, between Meghan's publicists and the world that had once embraced her. According to insiders, her PR team reached out to Balenciaga's media unit, pleading for contextual footage, anything that could make the laugh look intentional, lighthearted, innocent. They wanted to frame it as a shared moment of joy. Balenciaga refused. "We don't edit reality," a staffer reportedly replied. That was the moment Meghan realized. She was no longer being protected. What came next was strategic damage control disguised as silence. Meghan's inner circle, the stylists, the photographers, even a few journalists she had cultivated, went radio silent. The very influencers she once gifted with American Riviera orchard hampers suddenly stopped posting about her. Some deleted old photos. Others privately unfollowed her. But Markus didn't retreat. He reinvented. At Fashion Week after-parties, witnesses say he became the man with the inside story. Always poised, always smiling, never cruel. But his words carried the cool detachment of someone who decided to survive the storm rather than drown in it. Paris isn't Montecito, he reportedly told a stylist from the cut. It's not about warmth. It's about temperature control. That one line became legend. Reposted, retweeted, reinterpreted. It was witty, elegant, and devastatingly clear. He wasn't shielding Meghan anymore. He was drawing distance. By the end of the week, the same magazines that once gushed over her graceful reinvention had changed tone entirely. Vogue Paris omitted her name from its Faces of the Front Row spread. LWD referred to her presence as unexpected. Even the New York Post joined in. From Duchess to Diva, Meghan's laugh heard around the world. Every headline told the same story. She had become spectacle, not subject. And Markus? He became the sophisticated insider who spoke in riddles and left everyone guessing how much he really knew. His silence became his power. But inside Meghan's Montecito home, that silence was deafening. According to one insider, she replayed the viral clip repeatedly, whispering, "It wasn't that bad." Harry reportedly urged her to ignore it. "They'll move on in a week," he said. But Meghan knew better. Paris doesn't move on. Paris remembers who breaks the spell. She had broken it. Weeks later, the dust had settled, but not the damage. The story of the laugh had become myth. Fashion podcasts debated it as the moment Meghan lost the room. Publicists whispered about it as a cautionary tale, how a single human reaction could undo years of image strategy. And Markus Anderson? He had never looked more composed. One editor described him as a man reborn, elegant, untouchable, free from the royal shadow. For the first time, he was his own story. Meghan, meanwhile, faced a cruel paradox. Her brand was built on relatability, the woman who dared to be authentic in rooms full of artifice. Yet the very sound of her authenticity, a laugh, had turned her into a caricature. The more she tried to reclaim control, the more Paris recoiled. Invitations slowed. Collaborations cooled. And each new public appearance carried the same unspoken warning. Don't laugh too loud. Even months later, that whisper, Markus's whisper, still haunted her. It wasn't just gossip. It was transformation. The friend who once opened doors had quietly closed them. Insiders say Meghan attempted one final gesture, a private apology message, part confessional, part plea. Markus never responded. Instead, he reportedly unfollowed her and, days later, appeared at a Chanel event smiling beside editors who once adored her. It was symbolic. Two people once united by ambition, now divided by survival. Because in truth, this was never just about a laugh. It was about hierarchy, about who sets the tone in a room and who breaks it. Meghan's world had been built on performance, Markus's on perception. And when performance cracked, perception won. What followed wasn't a feud. It was an erasure. Meghan vanished from the Paris post-show circuits. She skipped Milan. She wasn't seen at Dior. No Vogue feature, no photo spread. It was as if the city itself had rewritten her out of its story. And yet, Markus thrived, the perfect anti-hero of this quiet drama. His smirk became a symbol of subtle power. His quote, "Paris isn't Montecito," echoed through fashion circles like gospel. Was it betrayal? Or liberation? Maybe both. Because while Meghan sought to be adored, Markus sought to belong. And in that difference lay the end of their decade-long alliance. Behind every whisper is a truth someone's afraid to say aloud. Behind every laugh, a secret someone's desperate to keep. The irony is poetic. Meghan once taught the world how to find your voice. Yet in Paris, her own voice, one unguarded laugh, became her undoing. What remains is not scandal, but silence. Not rage, but reflection. Paris moved on, Markus ascended, and Meghan retreated, still wondering how a single sound could turn a city of admiration into a chorus of quiet rejection. In the end, her laugh wasn't her mistake. It was her mirror. And in that reflection, she finally saw what Paris already knew. Charm fades, mystique endures, and silence, more than any headline, always has the last word. If this story left you thinking about how easily perception can shift, how one whisper can erase years of effort, subscribe. Because next, we uncover how Meghan's Paris fallout rippled through Hollywood, reshaping alliances, friendships, and reputations she thought she could control.